So basically, those are the big headlines at this moment. Before we went into the break, we were going to discuss Kiran Bedi. You saw Kiran Bedi there looking disappointed. She's been watching headlines today and says that 3 p.m. after 3 p.m. she's taking our line. After 3 p.m. the voters who've come in are going to vote for the BJP, she says, and that could change the equation. But Kiran Bedi, across the table, good choice, bad choice if these results hold. Good choice?
It was a self-goal, the BJP's biggest mistake.
You think it was the BJP's biggest mistake? Sujit?
I think the biggest...
If these results hold up.
Yeah, if this again. And let's not stop, it takes too much time with the caveat, okay?
No,
I think the viewers understand.
Viewers don't, they'll kill me.
Okay.
They're going to play this again on YouTube and say, you said that Kiran Bedi was terrible.
So I'll have a caveat.
Okay,
exposed,
you have a caveat.
Exposed, that is after the fact.
Yes.
The biggest mistake in my mind was clearly the fact that the BJP did not call elections in June after the Lok Sabha elections. Now coming to Kiran Bedi, I think very soon people will compare or should compare the lack of political instincts, the lack of a politician belly of Kiran Bedi and compare it to identically Rahul Gandhi. I think the two are identical politicians. That is to say, they're not politicians at all. They have zero political instincts. They have very bad
Kiran Bedi, I was calling her, people have been calling her, her critics have been calling her the Sarah Palin of this election. You're calling her Rahul Gandhi. But, let's be honest, is it unfair? At one level, there's almost been a misogynistic approach, some believe, towards Kiran Bedi, particularly among the older guard of male BJP MLA, leaders. When you speak to her, Kiran Bedi, she doesn't know administration, doesn't know politics. She's an extremely talented woman. Maybe politics requires a different kind of skill.
Well, I don't know about her being extremely talented. That is a different matter altogether.
India's first IPS officer, tennis champion. She's the prison reform, Magsaysay Award winner.
Yeah, she has quite a few things in her favor. But what I think has gone wrong is that BJP couldn't actually put its own house in order, which is why it chose an outlier like Kiran Bedi. If it could have done a better job in looking after its own aspirants, I think Kiran Bedi wouldn't have been in the fray. Kiran Bedi is a default option, and therefore don't blame the BJP too much.
Okay, default option, yes.
Or don't blame Bedi too much.
To take the point forward of Dipankar Gupta, the BJP, where is, the last big leader that the BJP has thrown in Delhi is good old Madan Lal Khurana. Right. And that was late in the 90s. After that, the BJP has struggled to find a replacement, someone who is seen as someone identifying with Delhi.
Coming back just to Kiran Bedi, forget the fact that there could be a misogynist. I'm a woman, I would definitely have said, okay, Mahila Suraksha, Kiran Bedi looks like a good choice. But here is Kiran Bedi, the one act that's required of a political leader leading the campaign as a chief ministerial, prime ministerial candidate, she fails in communicating. When I go back to the tabkas that I do, the FGH, who I call the inequality, the city on the periphery, the one thing that they say is the BJP has put back Inspector Raj on us. So that's tremendous, saying baat vichar se hum connect nahi kar pate. Therefore, across the city, what you can hear is that here is somebody who doesn't make a political conversation with the people. Why else do you have a chief ministerial candidate? It's not a followed procedure, it's not in the law, it's not in the constitution. But the type of campaigning that you have now, you do require a face, a chehra, a person who can talk on the agenda and make it look live.
So my comparison with Rahul Gandhi is perfectly appropriate.
Absolutely, fails miserably.
Seshadri Chari, am I right to say that since Madan Lal Khurana, you have not thrown up a strong leader in Delhi? You tried, for example, Sahib Singh Verma had to change courses midstream, brought in Sushma Swaraj just before a poll in 98, it didn't work. You brought in Vijay Kumar Malhotra, who had actually been a leader from the 1960s, brought in a Harshvardhan. Over the years, you've just not been able to find a leader in Delhi. Why blame poor Kiran Bedi?
No, I don't think... No. I don't think it is very correct to say that, because the BJP had a number of people.
Yes.
After Madan Lal Khurana, as you very rightly said, Sahib Singh Verma was a very towering leader and who could really take BJP to victory. But what has happened is, in the last almost 15 years, the Congress had a much stronger leader in Sheila Dikshit. And she could really stem the tide against the Congress, and she could bring the Congress back. And this she did,
sir, in
on
25
her own
years,
individual
sorry
capacity.
to interrupt you, sir. In 25 years, who is the leader? Please show me one leader you have thrown up. The Delhi BJP has not been able to throw up one leader whom Delhi has faith in. Arvind Kejriwal, a party which is formed 2 years ago, is 2-1 versus any BJP leader. Even a Kiran Bedi is preferred after 2 weeks to any leader that you had over all these years. The Satish Upadhyayas, the Vijay Goyals, these are not leaders of Delhi.
No, no, you are forgetting the role that Dr. Harshvardhan played. We cannot also.
Then why did you make him your CM candidate? Sir, if Harshvardhan is a popular leader, why didn't you make him your CM candidate? Why did Narendra Modi make Harshvardhan the CM? I am told, in fact, that Kiran Bedi's announcement was made without even properly informing the state leadership or Dr. Harshvardhan. If he is so good, why was he not the CM candidate?
No, no, I don't know what is the source of your information, but in any case, that information is wrong. Kiran Bedi was in talks with the BJP for almost one full year, but we did not take that very seriously because that was not a time when we were facing an election. But when we were facing an election and when we made an assessment, we really felt that of course, not that we are writing off our leaders, but in spite of our leaders, Kiran Bedi would probably be able to mop up the fence-sitters. And even now I am saying, Radip, even if we are going to be 65, 66, 67 votes, percentage of votes in Delhi, I think your figures will have to be re-looked into. Because if you take the average of all the percentage and if you relate it to the number of seats, here, the Aam Aadmi Party is likely to get something like 36 or 37 seats. The BJP should be getting something like 26 or so, which means the Congress still is able to retain about 8 or 9 seats or even 11 seats, which is not possible at all. So it will be very wrong to assume that the entire Congress vote has gone to Aam Aadmi Party. It is very likely that the Congress vote could have gone. Therefore, if this is the percentage of voting, the winning party should get something like 45 plus, which doesn't seem to be possible as far as Aam Aadmi Party is concerned.
Your argument may make psephological sense, but at the end of the day, let's be clear. In what is becoming a two-horse race, a 4% edge can take a political party well ahead of the party number 2. And that is what is happening in Delhi. The Congress vote is collapsing, is shrinking, and the benefit is going all the way to the BJP, to the Aam Aadmi Party. That is the reality, Seshadri Chari. And I'm not going to blame Kiran Bedi alone for that, but the fact is, Narendra Modi, Amit Shah, if these results hold, Arun Jaitley will have to have questions raised about what they decided 3 weeks ago. It's possible the BJP would have still lost. And thereby, they could well turn that they tried to save what was seen as a losing cause. But why did Arvind Kejriwal resurrect himself suddenly? That's what I'm going to ask. Someone who was written off by most people, including Professor Bhalla. Professor Bhalla and others, I think, wrote off Arvind Kejriwal after what happened in the Lok Sabha.
Absolutely.
And he's come back. The reinvention of Arvind Kejriwal is what I'm going to look at. We've looked at Kiran Bedi. Let's look at what Arvind Kejriwal has done. And remember, 8 p.m. we are giving you updated numbers based on the polls, on the polling that took place after 3 p.m. in the afternoon. So there could be some changes. All the analysis could be turned on its head. As of now, though, it is advantage up, a capital edge to the Aam Aadmi Party. Clear majority as of now for the Aam Aadmi Party, those numbers that we are putting up. Remember, in 20 minutes from now, we'll have the final revised numbers based on the exit poll as of 6 p.m. because between 3 and 6, there's been considerable voting that's taken place. We've discussed Kiran Bedi. The question is Arvind Kejriwal. And let me start with you, Surjit, since as you've graciously admitted, you wrote him off 9 months ago, and he was what? He gave up power February 14. Manini informs me that he might form a government on the 15th of February if
AAP announced it.
AAP has announced that they will form a government on February 15 if they come to power, swearing in, which is a bad day to do it because it's also the India-Pakistan match in the World Cup. But maybe the supporters of Arvind Kejriwal don't care. The big question, of course, how has Kejriwal achieved this turnaround, if indeed, as I keep saying, these numbers are right?
Look, I wrote him off. So did all of India write him off in the Lok Sabha election. So let's not single me out, if you will, that I wrote him off. That was so clear that basically the AAP had gone down to a crashing defeat and indeed won 4 seats in Punjab, which is the only place they won. And if you will, Kejriwal and his Delhi unit don't get along with the Punjab unit of AAP. So therefore, even everybody in this country had given him off, which is what makes the comeback all the more remarkable.
I take it, but what is it? Give me the one factor that you think is responsible for the comeback.
I think it isn't. Look, first, if one has to give credit to Kejriwal and AAP for fighting a very good campaign, coming back. One has to give equal credit to the BJP for losing this match, as far as AAP is
concerned. So you're saying the BJP gave the space to the Aam Aadmi Party the time.
But let's not take away from AAP. Yeah, let's not take away from Kejriwal. Listen, they did enough to make themselves in the race.
Let me give you one example.
To get ahead of the BJP, sure. The BJP scored several self-goals.
Let me be honest. He started his campaign in September, October. BJP really starts its campaign in January. Aam Aadmi Party decided not to contest Haryana. Said we'll focus all our energies on Delhi.
Yes.
Admitted importantly, Manini, how important is that? Admitted in middle of last year, I made a mistake.
I think that's a huge plus point, because frankly, Kejriwal was almost like a mini Modi last year. He was very self-righteous, very sanctimonious, running down everything, that he was this. But you know, the fact that he learned from his mistakes. He was punching above his weight, took on Modi in Banaras, fought 400 seats. But after that kind of a defeat, a lot of people who are not traditional politicians would have just packed up and said, forget it, and gone back to NGO. The fact that he stayed on and
admitted his mistake.
Admitted his mistake and went back to, he learned his mistake, like let's focus, instead of focusing on the nation, let's go back where we started. And I think Mr. Kejriwal should be given credit, but I think what has really worked for AAP is this amazing voluntary force they have. Because they're a new party, maybe 5 years down the line, 10 years down the line, they'll become like any other political party. But there's 30, 40, 50,000 volunteers working in the grassroots, going to the what Manisha keeps talking about, the Juggi Jhopri, the lower middle class colonies, talking to them about, so that 49 days, instead of working against him, it was like they were reminding all the things that we did and we'll do much more. Yeah. So it was a very good, but you can't take away simple things like hard work and going to the grassroots.
You know, I take that, but is it therefore a very much Delhi phenomenon? He was helped by the fact that the demographics of Delhi work for a party like the Aam Aadmi Party. The demographics don't work for a national party. Kejriwal was able to almost create this conflict, Aam Aadmi versus Khas Aadmi. That I'm here with you, I'm here, my volunteers are with you on the ground. The Khas Aadmis are those who live in Lutyens, Delhi. Has he been able to successfully recreate almost, first it was corruption, now it's about Aam Aadmi versus Khas Aadmi. Do you get a sense that has helped him, the Delhi factor?
I'd like to answer this question slightly differently, but I take your point. You see, those days when most of us were beginning to write off AAP, there was a part of Delhi that was now rooting for AAP in a way that they didn't earlier. I think that dharna he did was something that won a lot of hearts amongst the urban underclass.
Which dharna? The one in Republic Day?
Yeah.
Which actually put off a large part of the middle class.
But it won a large number of supporters who were not AAP supporters before that happened. So AAP in fact got this solid support base. You mentioned Shiv Sena. The Shiv Sena may have ups and downs, may win elections, lose elections, but there's a core that will always stay. I think AAP formed its core then when he held the dharna. That was a core defining moment, you might say, of AAP.
Yeah, that's an interesting observation. Others have said that was a mistake. But what was the turning point? One is admitting the mistake. Is the other the fact that if the BJP had gone in for an election in July, August, not given him enough time to prepare, they might have been better off, because at that time AAP was still recovering from the debacle of the Lok Sabha election. Did the BJP make a mistake by pushing the election through January, February, perhaps in the hope that AAP would disintegrate on its own?
Oh, timing and sequence have an amazing impact on political outcomes. There's no way that you can recreate any historical path ever taken. So to that extent, when one does look back, it is important to understand that yes, there was indeed a mistake. But I would agree 100% with Manini saying that a number of admissions that Arvind Kejriwal made in retrospect, they seem to have worked politically for him. He is admitting, for example, that he doesn't have the capacity to go national. In a sense, Arvind's being able to take up the different opinions within his own party and heading out saying, no, I'm sticking by this, and handling factionalism inside his own party, handling differences of opinion within his own party, yet leading. That's been a trait in Arvind Kejriwal. Those who worked with him alongside Parivartan, those who work with him on the RTI activism, they also say, yes, we don't want to agree with him, he holds out on his own, but it has seemed that Arvind has the capacity to steer with decisions he takes, and I think after Varanasi, Arvind's positioning himself as that man, that fine, Delhi can choose a Kejriwal, then choose a Modi, but please come back to me. If this time around you see, he's not pitched very hard either against Mrs. Sheila Dikshit. Last time around, there were auto rickshaw campaigns pitched directly against her personality.
I
haven't. No mention of Ambani.
Yes.
No mention of Ambani.
No, he stayed away from the corporates. He stayed away from
Exactly.
He stayed away from Modi.
So all the familiar issues.
He stayed away from Modi's. You know, if you remember, one of his first campaigns was September, October, the so-called Delhi dialogue, which was meant to be an agenda for change. So, the BJP, 4 days before this election, brings out a vision document. I mean, you know, surely
he's saying, I'm sorry, and I'm doing my homework well. So even in the Jhugri Jhopis and the underclass, I don't like to call them the Jhugri Jhopis, I just call them the urban periphery, as you know. In the urban periphery, therefore, a distinct message around him saying, mistake kiya tha, kacha tha politics mein. So in a sense, nobody is saying that, you know, what he did on the Rajpath was the correct thing. They do understand that it was a mistake, but now they see him as doing the homework.
Is there a lesson? Is there a lesson in what you're saying for Rahul Gandhi?
Writes a political
Is there a lesson for the Congress? The Rahul Gandhi suffered a similar debacle in May. He could have also said, turned up, look, I got it wrong, mea culpa, I'm going to change.
Listen, for the umpteenth 750th time.
Yes.
In my opinion, my humble opinion, Rahul Gandhi is not a politician. He doesn't have it in his belly. He can say, I made 20,000 mistakes. He will not get one extra vote. You know what I'm saying? No, you're coming out with a new law of politics. Admit you made a mistake and you'll be made chief minister or prime minister.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that. No, I'm saying fighting. The ability to fight. Kejriwal fought in
exactly. You know, Rahul Gandhi does not fight.
There are, you know, Mr. Bhalla has particular views on Mr. Gandhi and the Congress party. But it's much easier for a new party and with that kind of volunteer force to turn around than Rahul Gandhi changing a 125-year-old party with these old, jaded, cynical people. So, you know, I mean, he's been talking about wanting to change.
But
I think any party which does not go to the grassroots, you know, any party which goes to the grassroots the way the Aam Aadmi Party has a future.
And any party that is a dynasty has a problem.
No, you see, I agree with you for grassroots, and believe me, I strongly feel that the grassroots, he struck a chord with the grassroots during the dharna.
You believe that he started during the dharna?
And there's one of those non-falsifiable statements.
No, it's not falsifiable. Let me tell you. That after that, most of the people who are, shall we say, upper class or middle class, they moved away. But that class they were stronger in the commitment.
But why did this upper class
hold on. I've got my
that's a different thing. But this is a base that will not desert him.
Seshadri Chari, would you agree that Arvind Kejriwal has reinvented himself in this election? If he wins, what explains his success?
No, I don't think he has reinvented. I think we are putting too many values on Arvind Kejriwal just because of this exit poll. I'm not doubting the veracity of these exit polls. Don't mistake me on that. But let me tell you, even during the parliament election, the campaign that was carried out and the general mood of the people in Delhi was Narendra Modi for PM and Arvind Kejriwal for CM.
That's true.
That was the mood even then.
Yes.
But in 2013 also, people very strongly felt that there is nothing wrong in trying out this new man. And they totally failed. And he has not changed a bit. The kind of electioneering that he carried out in 2013 and the kind of electioneering that he carried out now are absolutely not different at all.
You don't see any difference.
It's a very marginal difference between that and this. But what is really happened is,
because many believe,
I'm again sticking out my point on this.
Many believe that
I'm again sticking out my point on this.
He's been a little bit more tempered, less angry, he's less ruffled, he seems to be willing to sort of admit to his mistakes.
Correct. To some extent, that charge against him that he was a bhagoda, that he could easily fend off. That is the strategic change that he made in his campaign.
Yes.
First he used to say that I am not a bhagoda and all that. Then finally good sense prevailed upon him and he said, yes, what you say is correct.
Have you made him, sir, I'm running out of time on this. Have you made him from bhagoda into bichara by constantly attacking him? Like Narendra Modi's rivals constantly attacked him before the Lok Sabha elections, did you make a mistake by constantly targeting Kejriwal? Even the Prime Minister calling him an urban Naxal. Somewhere do you believe, very quickly, did Kejriwal from Bhagoda become Bechara Arvind?
Yes, that sympathy factor he could sense. He could sense that the people generally go for the fall guy. The people generally go for those who are perceived to be, you know, like on the receiving end of the political spectrum.
Right.
These things has helped him a little bit in keeping his own vote bank intact with him. I don't think his percentage of vote is going up. I'm again saying it is the Congress percentage of votes that is being shifted to Arvind Kejriwal, and therefore we should not see Arvind Kejriwal as a changed person.
I'm going to tell you a little story when I return, sir. I'm going to tell you a little story about the trader community and how the trader community, which was dead against Arvind Kejriwal, seems to have turned towards him before the polls. I'll tell you that story later. But as we head into the break, listen in to what the senior citizens, those who are in their 70s, 80s, despite their old age, health problems, other adversities, came out and voted today. Also, elated first-timers, more than 2 lakh first-timers in this election.